Welcome back. This is chapter 3, Ranga's Marriage, written by Masti Venkatesha Iyengar. And now I'm going to explain page number 19 to you. So here we go. On that afternoon, when I was resting, Ranga came to my house with a couple of oranges in his hand. A generous, considerate fellow. It would be a fine thing to have him marry, settle down, and be of service to society, I thought. So here, these lines say, the other afternoon, Ranga visited the author with a few oranges in his hand. When he paid this visit, author was enjoying his nap. This created a good impression of Ranga, and the author thought he should get this nice fellow married and settle down so that he could be a useful member of the society. Next part now. For a while, we talked about this and that, then I came to the point. Rangappa, when do you plan to get married? I am not going to get married now, he said. Why not? So here, this line say, after having a little casual talk, the author came to the real point, the real issue, and wanted to know when he planned for his marriage. Ranga responded sharply, not now. Author was quick to ask for the reason. Next part. I need to find the right girl. I know an officer who got married only 6 months ago. He is about 30 and his wife is 25, I am told. They will be able to talk lovingly to each other. Let's say I married a very young girl. She may take my words spoken in love as words spoken in anger. So here this line say, he said he needed to find the right girl. Then he spoke from an incident in which the difference of age between that newly married couple was only 5 years. He believed the understanding level between them would be very high. On the contrary to the above-cited example, if he married a young girl, she would be so immature that there would always be misunderstanding in communication. Next part. Recently, a troupe in Bangalore staged the play Sakuntala. There is no question of Dushyanta falling in love with Sakuntala if she were young, like the present-day brides is there. What would have happened to Kalidasa's play? If one gets married, it should be to a girl who is mature. Otherwise, one should remain a bachelor. That's why I am not marrying now. So here, this line say, further, trying to establish his point, he said, recently a troupe performed the play Sakuntala, where they found the characters like Dushyanta and Sakuntala, both of whom were mature enough to understand each other. If it were not the case, Kalidasa, its author, would have failed to create such a wonderful play. Then, giving his final verdict, he said, one should remain bachelor if the girl is immature, and so he was not marrying. Next part now. Is there any other reason? A man should marry a girl he admires. What we have now are arranged marriages. How can one admire a girl with milk stains on one side of her face and wetness on the other, or so young, or that she doesn't even know how to bite her fingers? One's a neem fruit, the other a bitter gourd. Exactly, Ranga said, laughing. So here, this line say, the author then wanted to know if there was anything else playing in his mind. He gave out the philosophy. As for him, a man should marry a girl he admires. There prevailed a system of arranged marriage, in which the scope of making a choice as groom wished was nil, and it resulted in something where there came a girl with milk stain on one side and perspiration on the other, or in the other case, too young to know how to bite finger. So, there is no question of admiration in such a case. In a way, it is a combination of neem fruit and bitter gourd. Ranga laughed at this remark of the author. Next part. I was distressed. That boy who I thought would make a good husband had decided to remain a bachelor. After chatting for a little longer, Ranga left. I made up my mind right then that I would get him married. So here this line say, the author was disappointed having received a negative response from the prospective groom, whom he thought would make a good husband. Ranga took leave of him after chatting for a little while, but at that instant only the author resolved to get him married. Next part. Ramarao's niece, a pretty girl of 11, had come to stay with him. She was from a big town, so she knew how to play the veena and the harmonium. She also had a sweet voice. Both her parents had died, and her uncle had brought her home. Ranga was just the boy for her, and she, the most suitable bride for him. So here this line say, then a nice coincidence took place. From a big town came a good-looking girl of 11 years to Rangarao's house. She was his niece. She possessed some good artistic qualities like playing veena and harmonium, besides owning a beautiful voice. She became an orphan, and so her uncle brought her home. Ranga and this girl were a perfect match for each other. The next part. Since I was a frequent visitor to Ramarao's place, the girl was quite free with me. I completely forgot to mention her name. Ratna it was. The very next morning I went to their house and told Ramarao's wife, I'll send some buttermilk for you. Ask Ratna to fetch it. So here this line say, this girl got used to the author since he had been a frequent visitor to Ramarao. He learnt of her name, and it was Ratna. The very next morning he went to Ramarao's place and asked his wife to send Ratna to fetch buttermilk he wished to offer them. So this is all for now. Thank you.